Hey everyone, so this is the very first video for geometry this year. We're going to start with section 1.1, points, lines, and planes. This video is actually just going to hit the first two objectives here. So we're going to focus on what are naming points, lines, and planes, and then we're also going to be able to name segments and rays after this video. So when we're all finished this video, reflect on those 2 points, and if you can't do it, then you want to ask for extra help, practice some more, shoot me an email, come to office hours. If you can't do it, do something about it and we'll get you there, okay? I know everyone can learn this stuff. It's going to be an awesome year, awesome quick video for you guys. Let's start about talking about what is geometry. So geometry is a system based on facts, basic terms, and definitions. So that's why in the syllabus I told you that it would be very helpful if you had flashcards. So on every video we do like this, there's going to be a screen for each section, obviously, of vocab words. So as soon as you see that, I would go ahead and grab 10 flashcards, and when we go through the video, pause it and take those vocab definitions and put them right onto a flashcard. Now you can put it into your notes and then a flashcard. 2 places is always good, but if you want to just take it and write it on a flashcard, that would be perfect too. Okay, so this section is the basic foundations, the building blocks of geometry. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first few definitions here. Okay, so this first one might be the easiest one ever, right? This little dot here, that we can call a point. So it's tricky, right? It's a point. A point is represented by a dot and named with a letter. And we can call that point A. Sometimes we'll just write A, capital letters for points. Okay, this next one is something that goes for on and on in both directions. See those arrows? And there's an infinite number of points in a straight path. So when it's like this, I have what's called a line, right? A line is when I have points, infinite number of points on a straight path that extends in 2 opposite directions. That goes on forever. It has no end. Okay, the quick way that we're going to learn to write this is we take any 2 points that are labeled on a line, we need 2 of them, and I write them, and then I draw a mini line on top of it. Pretend that's straight, right? Okay, that is how shortcut on how we say, everyone's going to know I'm talking about line AB. We can write it line AB. Okay, but I can also use that notation with the line symbol on top of the 2 points on a line. Another way is a lot of times there's another letter associated with that line, but not with a point. So notice it's just this random cursive letter. That's going to be another way we can talk about lines. So I would say line L, and let's pretend that L is in cursive. See if I can quickly find a cursive font. Okay, that's a pretty cursive. Doesn't even look like an L, right? That's a way that we can write a line. We'll all be on the same page. I'm talking about this line right here. Another vocab word, it is a plane, okay? A plane contains an infinite number of points and lines on a flat surface, okay? That goes on forever in all the directions. Another way that we can write that we're talking about a plane is at least 3 points on the plane. So I could say plane ABC, and you know I'm talking about this flat surface right here. Again, there might be a letter that isn't associated with a point. Notice this M is just hanging out. That's going to be a way that I can say, oh, I'm talking about plane M, and you'll know exactly what to look at. Okay? Another vocab word, it's used to describe points that are on the same straight line. So if I have a whole bunch of points, let me get a line here. Here's a line, and then I'm going to come through. Let's go here. And I have all of these points on a straight line. I can say that these points are collinear. Oh. Okay, are collinear. Those points are collinear points. Makes sense, right? Like if there was co-teachers, 2 teachers in a room, right? Collinear, I have all of these points on a line. My other one is used to describe points that lie on the same plane. So if I had a plane here, and all of these points on the plane, any ideas? What do you think that is? Coplanar. Silly, right? Coplanar. Okay, used to describe points that lie on the same plane. Just like that. So those are our first 5 vocab words. Where are these vocab words going to come up in a problem? Let's take a look here. So we're going to use that diagram to answer the following questions. First question, name a point in the diagram. Super easy. Find me any point on the diagram. What's it going to be? Point V, right? Okay, fine. Perfect. Could be point T, point Q, anything on that diagram. What are 2 other ways to name RS? Okay, 2 other ways to write that I'm talking about line RS. I can say it's line SR, and I'll use those letters to describe it, and I'll put the line symbol up top. Okay, and when we're talking about a line, it needs to have arrows on both ends. So at line SR refers to the same line, and the other way is if I can find that letter that isn't associated to a point, right? That M, just kind of hanging out right next to that line, is another way. All of these 3 things mean I'm talking about this line right here. What is another way to name plane P? Here's plane P, that random letter hanging out on the plane. So another way to write this plane that I'm talking about, that plane, is with 3 points on the plane. So what 3 points do you see on the plane P? Plane V, Q, T. Okay, those 3 points all fall on this plane, not necessarily R and S, right? Kind of leads me to my next question. Which points are collinear? Remember, collinear are points that fall on the same line. Here's my line. What points all fall on that line? R, Q, and S. And which points are coplanar, right? Points that fall on the same plane. Points V, Q, and T. All points on my plane P. Okay? Things like this. And let's think about this last one. What does the dotted segment of the line represent? Any guesses? That means it's underneath the plane. Okay? Underneath the plane. Right? It's a kind of it's on a 2D screen, but it's a 3D dimension we're working with. So dotted lines means it's underneath or behind. That's how we represent that on a 2D surface. Okay, so this is the first example. The next example, we're going to talk about some more vocab words. Okay, the first vocab word let's look at. So let's look, this right here, it's different than a line because there's no more arrows, right? But it's a line segment. If I could spell segment. Okay, a line segment, or sometimes we just call it a segment. We don't need to say line in front of it, is part of a line with 2 endpoints. It doesn't go on forever. There is a start and a stop to the line. And the order doesn't matter when we are naming the line segment. So again, I can go ahead and write the endpoints, or 2 points on the line, right? A, B. Here we have to use the endpoints. And now my notation is just a line, like a line segment over top. Straight line, no arrows. Okay? That's how I know it is a segment and not a line. So, or BA with just a line segment on top, no arrows. The next vocab word is something called, what can I write here? It is something called array. Array is again part of a line, but now it just has 1 endpoint. So notice how both of these rays have one point, one end point, but then it does go on forever, and there's an arrow indicating which direction it goes on forever here. Super important here, my order does matter, right? Remember up here with the segments, it didn't matter. A, B, or BA, it doesn't matter. Here, it does matter. When I have my notation for array, we have the endpoint first. So here, my endpoint is A, and then I have the other letter, and then the notation up top looks like array. It has a starting point, and then it goes on forever. This array, I would write, it starts with my endpoint, it's B, and then it goes on forever in the direction of A, and it always just goes in that direction to the right. Okay, there's one notation. What changes is the letters. The letters are going to change, not the symbol. Okay, and then one last one, which is very similar. Here, I have opposite rays. Okay, opposite rays are rays with the same endpoint on the same line. That's really important. On the same line, just different directions. So here, my opposite rays, there's an opposite rays on this line right here. With my point at C, that's my end point. Okay, C, I can go from C to B would be array, right? And let's color code this, C to B, all the way through B, or I can start at C and go through A. Okay, that's also array. Sorry, that didn't mean to go up. Okay, opposite rays. They're on the same line. They just go in different directions with the same endpoint. That's all they are. Okay, and then we're going to practice this really quickly here. Okay, using this diagram. What are the names of the segments in the figure? So I have segment MN, line segment MN. I have line segment MP, see here's MN. And then I have MP, that whole thing. And then I have one more NP. Can't just write them like that. Remember, I have to have this symbol up top that represents a segment, which is just a straight line with no arrows. Those are segments. What about the names of the rays? Okay, rays have an endpoint and then go off into a direction. So here, I actually have a few. Okay, I have a ray, let's start at N. Okay, I have a ray at N going through M, N through M. I could go the other way, can I? N through P. I'm going to come back and do the symbols. Don't you worry. N through P. Then I have a ray, actually, that goes from M to P. And then there's one more similar to that, P to M. P to M. And color pencils would be good for this class because you can kind of like highlight those. And all of those get ray symbols on top. Which are opposite rays? Remember, opposite rays have the same endpoint, just go on different directions, but they're on the same line. And for this guy, that would be the NM and the NP. Notice they both start with N. And then, are these the same ray? NP and PN. No way, look, they're going in opposite directions. Draw it out, it always helps. So you guys use this video. The questions that you're going to answer in this section are just like these practice ones that I just went over. So go through and try those. Watch this video again. Email me if you have any questions. Show up to office hours. You guys rock. Awesome job. I can't wait to keep learning geometry with you guys. Great job.